Hello, this is Bill from the sterilization station. And today, welcome back to the podcast on breaking into sterilization. Today, we're talking about one of the biggest milestones in your journey to become a sterile processing technician, and that is earning your certification. Whether you're studying for your CRCST through HSPA or your CBSPD certification, this episode will walk you through what the manuals really mean, how to study smarter, and 10 ways to prepare like a professional. Well, let's start here. Certification isn't just a test, it's proof you understand the science and the responsibility behind patient safety, right? The Central Service Technical Manual also says certification validates your ability to apply the AAMI standards. Don't we all want to apply those AAMI standards, like workflow design, sterilization parameters, maybe even infection control in real world situations? In short, that badge after your name, CRCST or CBSPD, it tells employers you can trust me with a patient's life. Don't you want the employers to trust you? Now, the sterile processing manual can feel like a mountain, right? Studying the manual the right way, plus chapters in microbiology, cleaning chemistry, packaging materials, sterilization science, the measurements that you're allowed to have the shelves go from the bottom of the floor to the ceiling. But don't let that intimidate you. Here's the key. Always remember, you want to study with intention and not just repetition. Remember, we're not here to memorize, we're here to learn. We're here to learnize, right? Decontamination section. Learn the why behind the process. The manual might outline the dirty to clean workflow, the PPE requirements, the washer disinfectant parameters, all based on AAMI standards, right? ST79. So when you study the section, visualize the layout and how contaminated instruments move through it. This will help you as you're learning to ace the test in decontamination on your CRCST or your CBSPD exam. Assembly section, make sure you're memorizing the inspection standards, the cracks, the loose joints, the alignment, the cutting ability. The manual stresses checking insulation on laparoscopic tools and verifying cleanliness under magnification. When you think about the sterilization station section, focus on sterilization parameters, the temperature, the pressure, the exposure time for steam, the hydrogen peroxide, the ethylene oxide. Know what to do when a cycle printout doesn't meet the standard. Remember, in the documentation section, learn about lot control numbers, load records, biological indicators, and quality assurance. The manual emphasizes that if it isn't documented, it didn't happen. This is really important in sterile processing because everything we do has to do with documentation. We're making sure our lot control numbers match the lot of our biologicals, whether it's for steam or for low temperature sterilization with your ASP Astera machines. Your load records, making sure they're filled out correctly, documenting the date, the biological lot number, documenting what load is for the instruments and the quantity, verifying your biological indicators and incubating them and then putting them into the incubators and monitoring that, whether it's through a tracking system or whether it's a physical quality assurance check. Studying these chapters isn't just memorizing, it's learning how your daily actions in sterile processing will protect patients. When I was learning sterile processing and surgical technology, I remember how a good friend of mine, Roger Mason, he told me, remember, it's not about memorizing, it's about learning. When you can teach it, you know it. So studying these chapters is so important. Make sure you're really learning the core principles. I want to tell you about 10 ways to prep and pass your certification. Here are my top 10 study and prep tips to pass your certification with confidence. Create a study schedule. Break the manual into small chunks, study 30 to 45 minutes daily. Consistency beats cramming. Remember, take a break after every 15 minutes to refresh your brain. Use flashcards. Use key terms like bioburden, critical item, and biological indicator, making sure those things, they will pop up constantly. Flashcards make recall fast. Study with the group. Join SPD study groups on Facebook or LinkedIn. Teaching others helps you retain what you learn. Quizlet has a lot of good information. I like SterilWorks, my good friend Patrick Farmery, as well as the Sterile Guy. He's got some great information to help you study, as well as the Sterile Process with Lachey Laron. Make sure you look these people up. Lachey Robinson. They've got some great resources. Practice hands-on. If you're externing, connect your book knowledge to real tasks, running washers, inspecting instruments, loading sterilizers. Understanding the AAMI standards. Now, most of your technicians don't even get to see them until they're in the department, but you can still read up on them. In the days of AI and ChatGPT, you can definitely use them to pull up some of those records. Don't just memorize numbers, know why those parameters matter for infection control and validation. Number 6, take practice tests weekly. The CRC exam has 150 questions, multiple choice, scenario based, and they simulate the test environment. Make sure you understand your weak areas when you take your practice tests, the areas that you're not doing that well in. Revisit those in the chapters, get back to those study groups, and reach out to those if you need help. If microbiology or steam sterilization confuses you, make sure you spend more time there. The exam is heavy on cleaning, sterilization, and documentation. There are some great resources in sterile processing. You have Beyond Clean. You also have HealthMark. These are some great educational platforms that have a lot of great content. Read the glossary, right? The manual, HSPA manual glossary is a gold mine. Definitions often appear word for word on exams. You got some great resources also in the industry like David Jagrose. You got Karen Cherry Brown. You got Kenneth Campbell. You got Carol Malone. You've also got people like Jonathan Wilder, who is a great resource as it pertains to sterilization if you need help with those areas. Review your notes before you go to bed. Short memory refreshes help transfer knowledge to long-term memory. Study those notes over and over again until you know it. Believe in your progress. You don't have to know everything at once. Just improve every day. Make sure you celebrate your small wins. Just remember, you can do this. That's here in the industry now, went through the same thing you're going through. And there's so many people here to encourage you in your journey. Don't faint. Don't give up. If you need anything, reach out to me. Bill Rochelle on LinkedIn, Sterilization Station at Outlook.com. And I'm here to support you in your quest to pass this test. And you can do it. There's way too many resources out there. On test day, take a deep breath. Read every question carefully. Eliminate obviously wrong answers first. Remember, this exam isn't designed to trick you. It's designed to confirm that you already understand the principles that are going to protect our patients. You've got this. You've trained for this moment. When you pass your certification, remember, you're not just earning a title. You're joining a community of healthcare professionals who stand guard on every instrument and every patient. So study hard, stay sharp, and never stop learning. This is Bill Rochelle, and this is Breaking into Sterile Processing. We are here. Hit subscribe, share this with your study group, and remember, every clean instrument tells a story of excellence, and I believe you can do it. We exist here to encourage you, students and externs, to get into the industry, and we have a program to help you. If you're interested in learning more about that, send an email to Sterilization Station at Outlook.com, and in the subject title, said, hey, SPD help.